so that YouTube can do a claim on my own music. That was really funny. Awesome. Working. Good. Uh-oh, Kathy got your tickets for July. Awesome. What up? 3 times, I know. Some new people too. Super cool. Detroit Dave. We'll make it all worthwhile. I feel the pressure fade. I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile. There is no second place. Right on. Beaver Dam, baby. I'm burning down these gates. Cool. We got Adam. Adam always comes in with his unmuted somehow. Let's see. Good, he's muted. This song is such a jam. Test screen share. Cool. Guys, how are you? So it's a Saturday. Here we got Sean coming back in. Got more people still checking in. It usually takes like 10 minutes for everyone to get fully in. So yeah, it's unusual that we're doing this on a Saturday, and I appreciate you guys that were able to join. It's a funny thing. Oh, good. Paul's coming on. More and more people. Yeah, I tell you, it takes a while for everyone to get in. You know, it's an interesting thing, the way these events sort of naturally live on, Sundays, is because I just think that even though I get a bunch of messages from everyone saying, oh, Saturday's way better, I don't know if it actually is. I sure as hell appreciate you guys working with me. I think the event the other night that we did was kind of an experiment. We actually didn't mean to get through the song. We kind of just wanted to break it down, and I went back and watched it, and the camera was behind the speakers, so it sounded really bad. Wasn't really at the level that I would have wanted it at. So I think that if we ever do that again, we're going to have to actually, as usual, I think that anytime we do anything, we actually have to spend a little bit of time producing it. So even if we just want to throw up a mic and do something for you guys, I think it's still not as good as if we put a little bit of thought into figuring out how it's gonna sound and where the microphone is. It's tricky, not being able to get good audio through our board here. It's so weird why we can't seem to get that right. But still, it was a fun experiment. I appreciate you guys joining me. That was cool. I think we'll definitely try to do it better next time. And the song's so cool. I think we should probably learn it and actually really play it well. But yeah, so super cool. I actually have a little bit of Saturday energy. I kind of enjoy this on Saturday. This is actually not a bad idea at all for me. So kind of definitely feeling it today. This song I think is very simple. I think that this might actually lend to a little bit shorter session, but I think it also might allow me to, we can chat about some other stuff. Typically, I try to keep Decode Radio and any of our sessions kind of focused because if I'm the ringleader, we can definitely go off on these different tangents, and it can get really, really hard to stay on topic and finish this thing. But I think today we might have a little bit more flexibility. It's such a simple song. So we will see, and I'm going to start by kind of looking at these messages here, a couple of specific questions I will answer. Is the Clifton Dingbat show the closest New York City show? Are you guys announcing a New York City show on this tour? You might be referring to which tour? There's 2 tours that were announced. There's Edema and Julien-K. I can tell you that New York City shows are going to be more and more rare because New York City is extraordinarily difficult to play in. It's very difficult for the touring vehicles. It's really difficult for the crew and for load. It's extremely difficult for everything. You can't put the band all up in New York because it's insanely expensive. So we all have to stay across in Jersey or something like that. It's insanely expensive to drive a vehicle with a trailer, like a big, dual axle, vehicle, whether it's a large, giant van or a half tour bus or a tour bus. It's really expensive. It usually ends up costing hundreds of dollars just to drive into town and park. Typically there's not parking, so we can't figure out where to put any of it. And there's almost no venues anymore. So that's a serious problem that, people who love music are going to face in New York, especially for these more independent bands and shows, which frankly, all of us really listen to, unless you're playing Madison Square Gardens or Irving Plaza or something like that, which by the way, we've played and we could play. It's just it's a little bit big, it's probably 1,500 seats. So it's a little bit harder for us to play, or Hammerstein Ballroom. It'd be more what we played in Orgy. It's really almost impossible to play in New York City. So we have to go do these other shows around New York. Anytime we have a load of shows, even in that vicinity of that area, that coast, it costs about $300 or $400 to drive around that area. Just period. Just in tolls and fees. And it's so unfriendly for people trying to go over there and do business in a vehicle and everything. It's just brutal. So, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of New York City shows in the future. I think there's going to be less and less and less. I think you guys are already seeing it. But we'd really appreciate, we're coming 5,000 miles to see you. It'd be awesome if you guys in New York could go a couple miles to New Jersey and see us. My mic and camera aren't working. Oh no, Detroit Dave, God damn it. Well, if you get it working, we'd love to see you. It seems like you might be someone new, and we love that. Good afternoon, JK fam. Oh, afternoon for you, morning for me. Saturday solid. Oh, I love it. Palm Springs is my favorite off. We're here with you. That's awesome. I didn't know. It is a favorite. It is a highly listened to song. I didn't know whether or not people would be super into it or not. I'll be seeing you in July at Wyandotte. I don't know where that is, but it must be around your area. I'm super stoked. Please tell your friends. That's great. Yep. That's why bands are skipping New York City, Wes. Yeah, it sucks. We love New York, but it is very difficult. Chris, the tolls and the parking. Whenever we have to park there and do a show, we get like 4 tickets, and it's like $300, and that's in addition to driving in, which is hundreds of dollars, and not being able to stay there and everything. It's insanity. Sometimes we just spend a bunch of money and stay there, but you can't really stay there overnight, right? Because the vehicle has to go back across. So maybe a few of us would stay at a cool hotel and stuff, but someone has to get that van and all the crew and shit across the way. So yes, Webster Hall was awesome. That is another way, is that the band can fly into those shows and play them. But when you fly in, you don't have any of your gear. We don't have our light show. We don't have anything. So that's also not super great. I think with Julien-K, we really like to have our lights and our full deal to make it a real Julien-K show. Right on, Kevin. I appreciate you driving. Awesome. Okay. See who's on YouTube over here. We've got some people. Yep. That's good. So people on YouTube, what we're doing is, this is what we do typically Sunday on Patreon. Sometimes I just go live on YouTube as well, so people can see what we do. This session is called DECODE Radio. we have different sessions every Sunday or kind of every weekend. Sometimes we do them during the week. And the Decode radio sessions where I break down one of our songs with our supporters and we talk about it, whatever that might be. But we usually talk about how we made the song and what the lyrics mean is kind of really what it's about. But I go through the tracks one by one and we break the whole thing down. So right on. All right, so I've got my baby shower tomorrow, which is going to be kind of funny. So we have family in town right now. We got a bunch of people coming over to my house tonight. We have a bunch of people coming over tomorrow. I am in full-on fucking baby mode. And I'm also in full-on get ready to leave mode because once we leave on this tour, it's 45 days. I have a baby in it towards the end. I hope after. And then I go right into off tour with Edema. We don't even unload the vehicle and we get into JK mode and play JK shows where we'll be likely playing new material. We have a bunch of new material. We're going to start, we're going to figure out probably while I'm on tour how to start releasing. And then while I'm here, one of the reasons I've been so busy and it's been so difficult for me to do these sessions is because we are shooting, photo shoots. We are shooting video. We are shooting, we are doing a bunch of shit. So Monday we have another shoot. We've had a couple shoots already because I have to stack all the material, all the content has to be ready basically before I leave. So it's been a huge amount of pressure. I can't come back and then pick up more content. You can't start stuff and then pick it back up later because realistically I'm going to look differently than when I come back from the Edema tour, and I'm going to have a baby and I'm going to have, new Julien-K shows. And we might also be producing another album for another band in addition to the Edema album, some other shit. Edema's got a bunch of big stuff happening too, but we weren't able to wrap it up while I'm here. It's just not enough time, and there's just only one Ryan, and I have to jump from both bands, and it's very difficult. So that's why these events have been all over the place. But I won't sleep till 2024 is basically it. Yeah, and then I come home and then I apparently I'll be changing diapers round the clock, day and night. Yeah, I got to see some nodding right there. I've been training to do ice baths and a deliberate cold exposure. And that's been super cool because one of the things that happens is when you're on tour, at least for me, like I very, very seldom get sick. But if you're ever going to get sick, it's going to be right when you come home from tour because you have this adrenaline that you're running on for a month and a half. And then you come home and your adrenaline dumps because you're home and your immune system goes down. You get sick. So I have been ice bath because it causes your adrenaline to go up and thus also helps your immune system. Not to be a cool trick for when I get home to kind of stay on, a natural, high immune system, thing. So hopefully I can not get sick from my baby and take care of her and be badass. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be really fun. I think that if I can just be there, if I can somehow get a flight home for the birth, my day will be made. And that's all I care about. I just want to see her be born, back out on tour, finish, come back home, and then I pay attention to her and do that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's get into Palm Springs Reset. Right on. I don't even smell the diapers anymore. That's so funny. Oh, boy. All right. Let's see. A couple things on YouTube here. Congrats, Ryan. Awesome. I'm here live for the first time. What's up, guys? Right on. All right. So I don't really pay attention much to the YouTube because, these people on the Zoom session are people who support us every month on Patreon. So it's kind of who we're going to be talking to. All right. So let's talk about Palm Springs Reset. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if it's going to give too much away if I tell you kind of how this song happened and what it is. But I think it doesn't really matter. I think the song is so direct. It's so sweet. It's deep and simple. I think that it's not that big of a mystery. I wrote this. It's one of the kind of the few songs that we didn't do a whole lot of other stuff to this song. When I brought it to the band, I brought it to them and I had all the parts sang into a phone. So I was literally in Palm Springs, and I ran around the corner with, we were outside sitting by a pool and everything, and I sang almost the entire song into the phone and sang each track. So the guitars, and I sang, drums, and I sang the vocal and everything into my phone. So I had them all separated. Basically, I had to just go back later and kind of pull them back out. But that's kind of like when I get an idea. That's a lot of times what I end up doing. I end up singing it into my phone, and if I have layers, I might sing the vocal line, and then after that, I might just sing the guitar part, and then I might sing like the drums, and they're all linear. So then I have to go back into here, and I have to start recording, each part separately, and in my mind, they're all arranged. And this is a good, very simple example of how that happens. This is, because of that, this is probably one of the most pure JK songs. You can play it on an acoustic guitar. The actual guitars on here are one note. So it's very simple, which I think is very cool. And yeah, it does really make for some cool duets and stuff. Kevin's talking about the time that I did it with Chester, and that was fucking amazing, and that was when me and Chester vocally were firing on all cylinders. We were singing together really, really well. And, that's something that you develop over time. And singing with a guy like Chester is fucking bananas, because you're on the Chester train typically. Chester starts singing and you have to figure out how to kind of keep going with him, because he'll also improvise and do stuff and do things better than he even did it on the album. And it's brutal. It's just very hard. But it was really nice to have him singing my stuff, and he was just being, we were already so in sync and things were really working like that. So super cool, super, super cool. All right. So let's kind of break this down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and turn this here. I have the bass right here broken down, and funny enough, when I said it's simple, I really meant it. So we're literally looking at like foo or a mirror. Just very, very simple. Super cool sound though. And basically how that kind of came about was me singing this part into my phone. Oh, not that part. That's not guitar. All right. Yep, one note guitar. Literally on our track. Super simple. I mean, that's about as pure writing wise as you can get. And this is how a lot of songs for me start. Difference with this song is that we really just left it like that. So one of the reasons I do this kind of like playing a lot when I'm trying to figure out like melody and everything is because I can just keep it straight. And then I can sing really easily and still keep the time and still know where the chord changes are and everything, right? So if you start getting all crazy, which is another rhythm I do a lot. That's probably my most natural strumming rhythm. You start losing the chord changes and everything. You start kind of forgetting where you're at because you're thinking of this rhythm. And I'm not James Hetfield, so I can't do it very well. So I keep it super, super simple. And this is a super cool way of doing that. It's just very... So just a very dissonant guitar along the top. Gets a little Interpol vibe. can even hear it's not necessarily played perfectly. I'm fretting out. So one of the reasons I think that's me playing, I think it is because it is fretting out, and it's a classic. When I'm trying to do a part and I'm barely holding on for my dear life. I don't know why there's some of those types of open playing things where I do fret out a little bit. So it's just, I mean, you can really hear it. It's really funny, but I think we kind of just liked it. I think it just sounded kind of cool. Right here. It's kind of like not very good, like playing, but it kind of works. It just, for some reason, it's very pure. God, more people coming in. Cool. It's just very pure. It's got a lot of melody to it. And it just really makes for a super cool, play. I think Amir plays it much better than I did live. So super cool. Beat wise, very simple. Very, very simple. Drum machine, beginner simple. And I don't think it gets a whole lot more complex. It's one of the reasons that we've been able to do this song acoustically so often, is we can just create the most simple beat. And in fact, we use this song as kind of a template for how we do a lot of our acoustic stuff. When we break down the other more complicated songs, we actually looked at this one after we played it live, and it goes over so well acoustically live that we started kind of, it sort of taught us that we could play acoustically. As an electronic band, we can translate all these to acoustic songs. And we always kind of go back and we go, well, Palm Springs can be like this. Why don't we take Eviscerate and make it like that? Why can't we take, if anything, acoustically, Palm Springs gets a little bit more, we play with chords and stuff. We're not really playing with one note, just so it's a little bit bigger, actually. So it's almost like we have to reverse engineer Palm Springs to be a little bit more acoustically, and the other songs we have to kind of reverse engineer to bring them down to kind of where Palm Springs is. But this really taught us how to kind of do some of the Julien-K stuff acoustically. It kind of opened that door for us. So yeah, so you can hear the bass is just extremely simple. The drums are literally, I mean, I think a kid could just program it on a drum machine, and I think maybe that was the thought and the approach to, how we wanted to kind of keep this song all about the lyrics. I think that was something that I definitely wanted to do. Let's just keep this song 100% about the song, the lyrics, the meaning of the song. Let's also see if I can carry a song with just my voice, so that was another little kind of experiment to see, if I could be a singer that could carry a song with my voice. And that still remains to be seen, but that's kind of what we did. It's what we tried to do. So let's go into keyboard land. See what we got here. SV1. Just a lot of, funny enough, sequenced SV1. Interesting. So that's a sound that I almost don't notice when everything's playing. Do you guys? Now I can hear it a little bit. Very weird. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know that part was there. That's pretty wild. Can't really hear that. Yeah, I can't either. New part immediately has me thinking of the Battle Tapes remix. The Battle Tapes remix is epic. Yeah, I mean, we should do a breakdown of that remix with them. That would be a good idea. I love the Battle Tapes version. I actually thought that it would be fun to play their version live. That would be a super cool idea. Maybe we will. That's a pretty cool concept. So yeah, I mean, it's even this more of a busy part here isn't really that audible. It really just kind of picks a very, very simple song up a notch right there. And then back into chords. One note, chord. Definitely Foo stuff. You know, if there's real piano playing in our band, it's typically Foo, because he can actually play piano. The rest of us have to kind of like Frankenstein it out pretty crazy. Yeah, and that's Wes. That's the funny thing is that the song is really the way we tried to do this. It's so simple, and it was really about just featuring the vocals. It's really just about the vocal, the meaning of the song. You know, I think the experiment here was to try to do something pure. Just try to do something without a bunch of bullshit, you know, because we in Julien-K tend to really, you guys have seen every single part we do is typically 3 parts. So we fill out the whole EQ spectrum with each thing that we do, and it's nuts. And this song doesn't have that. This song is just Ryan guitar, 1 track. Ryan guitar on top of that for the melody, 1 track, and then just some very, very, very light, you know, synth. And it's just not much going on, so it has to be about the vocals. So let's go right over here. Let's check out this. There's a little bit more going on right here. Let's see what this is. Yeah, so, you know, I think in this Foo is really a star because he's just emphasizing the simple guitar line in a way that I think probably took the song to another level. Like, you really just elevated it to this whole other level. And I mean, if, you know, the guitar part there is just going to be something so simple, you know, here's the chorus guitar part is just... It's the same thing over and over, but you add this to it. Yeah, I mean, it really is a situation where he just did a lot of very simple playing, and it just really changes the entire song into something special. Let me see what this really cool. Interesting. And so let's add the other part to it. Wow. Okay, add the third part. This is classic Julien-K shit right here. Yeah, it really like fleshes it out into something special. I think he just really killed it on this. I really like that. I actually haven't broken all these down and listened to it like this. And so again, he's going through with synth, and he's kind of like, I'm not playing guitar there, and he kind of actually took the melody, a little to a different place. He actually made it a lot cooler. So that's another cool thing that, a guy like Fu can do. And the melody is basically the same thing over and over and over. The guitar part's basically the same thing over and over and over. And he can kind of go in and just, take the song in different places by kind of playing different notes where you assume that the same note is going to happen. And those are those little cool hits of dopamine that you want to put in a song. It's I think of it as like this novelty dopamine hit. You know what I mean? It's the same thing the same reason that phones are addictive is you have like an unexpected little hits of dopamine. Same with video games. Video games are tons of unexpected little dopamine hits, little novelty dopamine hits. It's what makes something addictive and, or at least habitual. And it's something that I'm really trying to work on with our new songs. Some of these new songs, don't have the same verse melody. I think the first single we're going to drop, the verse is one thing, goes into a chorus. The second verse is completely new. There's nothing like the other verse. And then the second chorus goes into a part that only happens once, just on that chorus. And it's a huge experiment. I mean, people might be like, fuck these guys. What are they doing? That part was really cool. I wish they did it again. But hopefully that means they're going to go back and listen to the song again. But I'm definitely experimenting with this concept of, creating interesting dopamine hits in the song that are unexpected, and, doing something really awesome and just doing it once, and that way you go back through and you want to take that ride again. I might be onto something. Obviously, it's also a good strategy. If you got something great, you want to repeat it a few times. That's another obvious strategy, right? But there's also a lot to be said about things that are exciting, and you want to listen to the whole song because it goes different places and doesn't always repeat itself. Of course, there's those elements that do repeat, but this song, I completely repeat myself. It's basically, the song is pretty much the same thing. And so Fu actually has done a good job of going in there and making things different, in subtle ways. And this would be a great example of. So he's creating new chord structure underneath this vocal. And then we start to play again, same stuff, and it actually sounds like a lift. It sounds like a change. It's not a change. It's an audio illusion. Okay, then the classic. I mean, you can see how what we do is usually subtract loads of elements and then layer loads of elements back on until it gets into another sort of like an audio illusion where the song is much, much bigger, and it's all these cool elements that are now happening together. Really all that is just a layering of elements, now that you guys have heard them all kind of separately. And then I'm curious. So even the bridge, again, it's all the same notes that I'm doing. I just play them a little bit differently, which allows me to do a different kind of a lift for the bridge. But it really is all the ancillary, or all the kind of like the Fu like synthesizer parts that really make this whole thing different. And on the bridge, where it seems like it gets bigger, actually all the instrumentation disappears and it becomes more about the guitars and the guitar melody line. So let's check that out real quick. Let's isolate that. Let's isolate that. In that. All right, so we're in the verse. Actually, in the chorus. everything gets pulled out. Few chords are moved around. But when you add in the vocal, deselect all this kind of stuff. It's kind of fun because this song really is a demonstration of how to manage dynamics. So, chorus, how do you make it bigger than the chorus? In this case, we subtract, and then we go somewhere different with the vocal. Pretty cool. So that's pretty interesting. I know there's a few people here on these that do music, and a lot of people that are missing today will go back and watch it on YouTube later. And all of us struggle with the same thing. Like, you got a great chorus, you got this cool verse, and you've got great dynamics going on. And how do you make the bridge cool? And a lot of times that means coming up with different chords and stuff like that. And you can see with what I did is it's all the same fucking chords. I mean, there's like 4 chords in this song, or notes even in this song. And I just changed the notes around, which is really common. But something that's maybe a little less common is that we sucked every single instrument out. It's just the guitar. All the synthesizers are gone. Everything's gone. And then I just kind of carried it vocally. And because of that, it actually made it sound bigger and not smaller. And technically, it's actually smaller. And yes, Chris, it builds tension. And then, of course, to kind of get out of that, we just went to nothing. We just pulled it completely out. And then it's just me and Foo.
There is no second place. No living in denial. I'm burning down these gates. We'll make it all worthwhile. I feel the pressure fade. I feel it on my face.
Then everything comes back in. So that's a way you kind of see that the strategy there was, before the song ends, we already know we've kind of have this structure. You got to make this one part bigger, and we do it by removing everything. And then we layer the sounds back on, but not before doing a complete silent section. Completely silent. Then when we come back with everything, the illusion is that it's bigger than the entire song. Even though the whole song is a little song. I mean, it's a gentle, it's somewhat calming song. I think I saw that. Yeah, Kathy. But it is a really good lesson in dynamics, and how to make these songs work. And you guys can hear too that there's not much going on. There's really not much going on musically. It's extremely simple. And I think that, again, the idea was like, could it be something that you guys could even just learn on a guitar and just to learn someone else's stuff? Because part of being a musician is that we have to learn other people's stuff all the time, because that's what teaches us new ideas and new ways to go, So that was kind of the thinking behind this. Mr. Kevin, my brother.
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Yeah, really well.
Great, man. Yeah. I just wanted to comment on what you were just saying about like that part where you strip it down and then you have like the illusion of it coming back to a bigger song. And I noticed it's like a cool thing you guys do with a lot of songs, but in this one in particular, and I think it's part of why it's my favorite, it's like when it's just you singing and then like the the background chorus refrain, it's like your little like spotlight on stage moment where it's like you're really hammering down the point of the song. And you're like, I'm burning down these gates. It's like, that's the affirmation. It's like, I'm going to, do this. And I'm like, it's really powerful. And I just love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that, I think that the lyrics do influence, kind of like the dynamics of the song, and you want to emphasize like some of those last words, like you're saying, and you emphasize it by sort of tearing it down, the audio, which is a kind of a cool thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's cool that you ping on that a little bit. I love that. All right, thanks, brother. Mr. Sean, hi. Oh, can't hear you, buddy.
How about now?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. I was wondering where you're in two different bands with two different kind of music styles.
Mhm.
How do you compartmentalize, like, say, writing for Julien-K and writing for Edema? How do you keep the two like separate? Like,
Well, the easy part of it is that Edema compartmentalizes themselves. They are a different act. They're a different group. And the stuff that, like, when I have Tim and Mike come in here with me and start, and I go, okay, what's some new song ideas that you guys have? And Tim, who's usually kind of like the riff writer, he's like almost like the kind of the meat and potatoes of the band. When he starts writing stuff, it's going to be fucking Edema sounding shit. You know what I mean? His tone's going to be different. He's playing different guitars. He's coming at it with that Edema style of riffs and sound and everything. And that's helpful because it makes it to where I don't have to compartmentalize. I basically go, okay, well, I have to do something that works over that music. And that makes me sort of like have a different side to me, which is cool because I come from that music too. When we did Julien-K, or actually when we did Orgy, the idea behind Orgy was to kind of, we liked all that music. I obviously have my tentacles deeply in that music because of Korn and Blind and Jonathan and all the relationship and band work that we've done together. But we wanted to do something that really stood out and was very different than that, but that still had that sensibility. And that ended up over a few years becoming Orgy. And I think that we haven't really changed. We still want to do something different. And then you get Julien-K, and that's why we can play with bands like Powerman 5000 and Linkin Park and the bands that we've played with, because we still have that sensibility, even in Julien-K, with all this like synth music and all this kind of stuff and makeup and all that kind of stuff. We still come from this same school. So when I am with the Edema guys, it's not really like being someone different. It's like just going like, oh yeah, this is where I come from. And then I get to try to do what I would do to that music. So that's when you start hearing me doing those screams and stuff that are reminiscent of that kind of music vibe. It's because when I hear the music, that's what I want to do. I hear these riffs and I just want to go, scream and everything. And it's one of the reasons that I like being in the band so much, because it's really fun live. It's like this, big traditional band of five guys playing their instruments really well. Whereas Julien-K is three of us right now on stage, all playing really well. Of course, me and Amir have been doing this a long time, but it's a different thing. We create the music and the sound is different. Whereas Edema, it's just, you got five guys doing their thing and they do it all in harmony, and it's super fun for me. So that's just one of the reasons I really enjoy it. So, when you enjoy it, the compartmentalization doesn't feel like compartmentalization. It feels like you get to do something new that you like, or different that you like. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You get to date other people. Thank you. That was a good question. Appreciate you. Right on. So let's get into the vocals. And of course, guys, raise your hands anytime. I will see it. Because I think that, honestly, I probably did more work on the vocals than we did on a lot of the music. I mean, it's just really such a simple song. And it does look like there is a fuckload of layers on the vocals for such a simple song. It really does look very layered. So let's check it out. Let's go into... All right. We're going to start here. Mm-hmm.
I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile. There is no second place. No living in denial. I'm burning down these gates. We'll make it all worthwhile. I feel the pressure fade.
So, the approach to this, it almost sounds like I'm whispering, right? Because I am. So it's really getting into the mic. I feel it on my face. Breathy. There's a lot coming from like here, which normally I try not to do, right? You want it to come from here, up here, and down here. But that's very much in my throat. It's a lot of breathing. So, you know, I am singing this song rather quietly, you know, and I'm really kind of just using like, you know, chest and throat and head, which is, you know, not super usual for me. There's a lot of layering going on. This is the core, it's the bass.
I feel it on my face. There is no second place.
With the double, of course.
I'm burning down these gates. I feel the pressure fade.
Lots of breath, lots of breath. Normally Amir hates that, but I think for this song he was cool. So then we get into the answers.
The sun is in your smile.
Cool.
No living in denial.
Okay, now let's get crazy.
We'll make it all worthwhile.
All right, so you probably can't hear that really well. Let me just show you how nuts this is. There's a lot of this going on in the song.
The sun is in your smile. No living in denial. We'll make it all worthwhile.
So that is pretty fucking high. I don't even know if I could do no living into. Yeah, you really have to get in your head to pull that off. There's a part later on that's even higher, and it's crazy. But I'm just curious, can you guys even hear that in the song? Did you guys even know that was there? Yes. Okay, good. Kevin said yes. All right, cool. So you can kind of hear it when we do this.
I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile.
Yeah, I guess it's in there.
No second place. No living in denial. I'm burning down these gates. We'll make it all worthwhile. I feel the pressure fade.
So pretty good vocal capture. I mean, it was definitely a cool part. Definitely interesting that it is so soft. You know, it's something that we don't do that often. It's actually, weirdly enough, it's a difficult note for me to sing in key because it's right in the middle, and I'm better higher or lower. Kind of these mid-range notes are always really difficult for me to nail. In live, it makes me kind of go a little bit sharp or flat, and it's kind of annoying. But I have to be really warmed up and really good to be able to nail those out. It's an odd thing. Dave Gahan nails those mid notes so well, and I study like how he does it. But it's really, really cool. So now let's get into the chorus. Excuse me, the verse.
Undone, will you pray for me?
A little more full voice.
If I'm crawling along, will you cradle me? And if you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me? And if we happen to find our youth, will it set us free?
So in that case, instead of using a falsetto to accentuate the second half of the verse, we're going low. So another cool lesson in dynamics, you know, and keeping it fresh and doing some things that are not, you know, not exactly what you would expect. I mean, typically when you want to make something, you know, bigger as it's going, you're layering higher and higher stuff on it. And we went the opposite direction on that part, which is kind of cool, you know. Have the chorus.
There is no second.
So we blend.
If you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me? And if we happen to find our youth, will it set us free? I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile.
So you can kind of see how it kind of makes those two different parts. One sits here and one sits here, and they're actually in the same key.
The pressure fades away.
So those are just little tricks that we do. When a song is really, honestly, the song is like this. You know, it's the same shit. I I feel it on my face. If I'm coming undone, will you hear that? That's all the same. It's all the same fucking, it's all in the same key, in a lot of Julien-K songs, we do key changes, and that's what makes it kind of cool. Let's see if I actually do that on the bridge. Maybe that is going to be one of the keys to making this song, go somewhere.
The pressure fades away. And if you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me? And if we happen to find our youth, will it set us free? I feel it on my face.
Okay, so that's how powerful a key change is. Really, really powerful. So in this song, we just used it on that part, goes to a key change. A lot of times we'll use that on every chorus, like a key change for the chorus, key change for the chorus, key change for the chorus. But this song, again, you guys can see it's a big lesson in sort of being conservative. You know what I mean? We're being careful, and it just makes that part really explode. And here's the part that makes my head explode a bit. Let me see where this is.
And if you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with?
Where is this high part? Oh my gosh. Okay, check this out.
And if you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me?
Oh my God. It hurts. It's so fucking hard.
And if you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me?
So you can kind of hear when you isolate it, I barely have it. Barely have it. And I know, Ellen's like, how high the clouds up there. I know. Yeah, squeezing my voice like a lemon. Actually, it's not squeezing too. It's actually you have to fall way, way back, and you have to not try very hard. It's the only way to get that high. I don't know. And you just have to. It's so fucking hard. So I think that was like, Amir always does that. Can you do an octave over that? And I'm like, dude, that's sometimes the octave is like in the stratosphere like that. But it kind of makes some sense. I mean, it actually makes the beginning of this bridge really special. Can't even hear it, but it lifts it. And now you guys can really hear the falsettos and stuff through there. It's pretty cool.
I'm burning down these gates. We'll make it all worthwhile. I feel the pressure.
So yeah, Kathy said that "Take Me On," Aha. Yeah, that song is a huge influence on us, and Aha, and that kind of singing is obviously a huge influence on me. And Kevin's saying it's there, it's just buried. But yeah, sometimes you don't need it to be on top. It's just another EQ range that's in there that lifts the whole song up, that lifts that part up. So, that kind of stuff is important. There's a whole lot of stuff I think you guys have seen in these sessions that there's a lot of stuff we have kind of buried that is actually the thing that makes the song sort of lift. And that's really important. So not everything we do is designed to be like out front. And that's, something to keep in mind when you're doing your own music and even living your life. There's some stuff you kind of keep, kind of to yourself, but that's kind of what's making you, badass. So, it's definitely a cool concept in music. So, yeah. So, I mean, and the song is, like I said, this is, and that's pretty much the whole song. It's, there's nothing else going on. And to me, that's what makes this song really, really special. So I think that, I think we can kind of get into the lyrics. I'm going to want to kind of, let me put it on the screen here. If anyone has any ideas what this might be about. what I might be talking about. I'm super curious. Nobody? This will be really easy then. All right, last call. All right, that's cool. So, this is probably an example of the most pure writing and concept that I've ever done. It was written in the moment. I was in Palm Springs, sitting by a pool, and I was with my ex at the time, and I literally saw like the sun, and I saw her smile, and it just kind of made this whole thing beam into me. And I very seldom write about exactly what's going on, right? You guys know that. Usually the subtext to what I'm doing is deep. A lot of times it's dark. And this just kind of came. It was almost like a visual scene, you know? And that's the first two lyrics, lines in the song. So I grabbed my phone and I was like, okay. And I ran around the corner so that no one around the pool could hear me. And I had all these parts in my head. And so I started singing them. I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile. There is no second place. No living in denial. So it just kind of beamed into me. And it's pretty rare that I would ever just write a song that just kind of, you know, literally just influenced by literally just what I'm sitting in. So literal. This is literally kind of like, you know, and I didn't even think it would have a place in Julien-K. I didn't think that we would do a song like this. You know, I was like, this is too, maybe this is like a solo project. You know, maybe I just write some songs that are a little bit more literal. This is definitely not really a negative song. But it's really kind of like it's a little bit of like a hymn to like that desert, which was like a huge part of my life. Coachella Valley, where they have Coachella, Palm Desert and everything. If you live here in Southern California, you know, that's like kind of a place where a lot of us go, especially the artistic types. And there's some sort of magic in that desert. And that's where we filmed California Noir video. It's where I wrote a lot of our music. It's just, there's something special. And this song really became kind of like a hymn to me going out there and getting that magic and like touching into that higher power, whatever that creative energy is. And I think that this song is a really good example of just some of the magic that kind of happens when you're out there. I don't know what it is. It's not like a normal desert. It's not like being out in Arizona or whatever. There's just some sort of magic out in that desert, which deserved, you know, a song. You know, a lot of our songs came from there, but they aren't referencing it. Kevin.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on it. I think you went out a little quick, but you pretty much hit the nail on like where I was gonna go. I was gonna say Palm Springs Reset to me, like the name tells you what it kind of is. It's like after going through a really, you know, rough period of time, and I think that's where it's relatable to so many people. It's like after you come down from like a rough time and you feel clarity and who you are and like that, it's just things just feel like this is what I need to do.
Yep.
This is what I need to do. And then it's just feeling firm and like empowered and like okay. And not like coming from like, you know, like a place of like, I know you said like a lot of your writing comes from like a violent, you know, like charge. It's not that. It's just internal, you know, like an internal kind of empowerment.
I love how you said coming down, because that's probably really close to what it is. Like I think we just got off tour and I came and then went out to Palm Springs, which is a place that has this magic desert and everything. And yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. Yes.
Yeah. And then like another thing I brought up a long time ago, I think this song, and it might be completely coincidental, but you actually kind of brought it up. This song kind of feels like the yin to Eviscerate's yang. Like,
sure.
They sound totally similar, but they're the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always wondered if that was on purpose, but like obviously they're an album apart, but like it's just something that I always thought of. So
Yeah, yeah. No, they definitely. I agree, and they definitely come from the opposite sides of that spectrum for sure. Whereas Eviscerate is about taking and cutting up and removing and crushing, and this is about kind of opening up and sort of like seeing more and boiling life down to some of the things that matter and seeing the magic and connection and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. So I mean, basically, I feel it on my face. The sun is in your smile is the first thing that I saw. There is no second place, no living in denial as kind of being, this truth that's out there. I'm burning down these gates. We'll make it all worthwhile. The pressure fades away. Again, it refers to kind of the magic of that desert. In the name Palm Springs Reset, I meant it less as a reset, like I'm going to reset my emotions, even though it works like that. I was thinking more of like computers and stuff because, we were working on all this electronic music. So I was kind of like reset, but it was just so funny that I think that Palm Springs Reset was the nickname of the song in the note. So I don't even think it was a name. It was just like, and I think the guys were like, that's pretty cool. So by the way, we all like it out there. So that's a thing. So if I'm coming undone, will you pray for me? If I'm crawling along, will you cradle me? If you stumble upon the truth, will you stay with me? And if we happen to find our youth, will it set us free? Not necessarily about another person, but kind of about that desert. If I'm walking alone, will you walk with me? If I bury myself in you, will you uncover me? If you happen to hear my call, will you wait for me? And if we're corrupted by it all, can we be redeemed? Again, it's a bit of a hymn or an ode, to the magic of that desert, which is a very, very special place. I'm sure that Ellen knows because she's in the neighborhood here, and a lot of us have ties out there. It's just a magical place. It's definitely something that I haven't got to go there in a while. Kind of regretting it because I definitely I've been in such a mode where I work and I'm around the house so much or on tour. I haven't really had that like detach, go get new ideas kind of time. I've just been having to kind of beat them out, force them out. The lyrics, Dave, that's awesome. I love what that means to you. That's killer. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, Ellen's planning a trip out there right now. Oh, God, I'm so jealous of you. That's so cool. Gosh. Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate you spending a Saturday with me. Our next event will be House Party, and Foo will be here. So any elitists up, House Party is the little kind of private little hang we do. We just kind of have a talk, and we usually end up kind of blabbing for a while, and it's pretty fun. So that's going to be sometime with Foo here. It may not be right on a Sunday, but we'll pick the day, and it'll be really, really cool. But Foo comes into town this coming Saturday, which is going to be fantastic. It means we'll get another load of new JK songs, and it'll be me kind of running back and forth between Edema, getting ready for tour, and then back in the studio here with Foo and everybody, and we'll crank out a whole new load of music. So it's going to be should be pretty exciting. I'm stoked. Can't wait to share the stuff with you. So thank you for joining me on a Saturday. I'm glad you guys let me do it today. That's actually kind of fun. And I will see you guys all very, very soon. Mwah! If you're in Southern California, enjoy the sun for one day.